welcome to the Outpost Frequencies, brought to you by thelastmovieoutpost.com for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about films. I am your host this evening, not George Lucas, and with me, as always, is Drunken Yoda.
Hello, everyone. I am sorry we are just... Let me just get us to a 3-cam here. That's a little bit better. So, how you guys doing? It's 2022. We can flush down 2021 and await a new fresh hell that is 2022.
Shall I introduce Sean?
Sure, go for
it. I want you to know that it's 2022. I'm now Shauna, and I identify as a woman. As you can see, I've made my change, and I would if you would respect my new feminine beauty, I'd appreciate that.
It's that iPhone that makes you all gayed up.
Why are you always going on about women, Sean? I want to be one. I want to have babies. You can't have babies. Don't you oppress me?
I want to be a chest feeder so bad. You don't know.
That's an expression I haven't heard before. I like that. That's the best expression I heard since a German person called cutlery food weapons. Pass me some food weapons.
Well, we're getting off to a banging start for 2022. I can see already.
Yes, it is. Yes, 2022. I mean, it's only 2 days so far, but how has it been for you guys?
I'm not drinking enough, actually.
I'm going to start drinking, I guess, for the first time. Maybe I cope with 2022 better if I'm drunk.
Mine's been quiet. I did have a booster, and so my arm has been aching, and I've been feeling a little bit sick because of that. But I'm
R.I.P.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Dibs on movie collection.
It went all IKEA arm, so it started mutating and pulsing and spitting out metal and stuff. But no, it's been all right. And so we've had that's the line I always quote as well whenever I think of Akira. Canada.
Yeah,
it's like a guy wants to go to Canada. I don't know why.
You know what? You know what the actual original the Japanese what he actually says back to him after he says that. He says it's oh god, now it's
America.
No, he says he says the N word. No, he says it's Kanade Sama or something like that, knucklehead. So it's not like they don't just scream each other's name back and forth at each other, and not that anybody cared.
It's not like a rom-com where they're doing that at the airport and stuff.
They run into each other's arm.
So we've managed to endure 2021, and we've managed to get to the other side of it. Battered, bruised, bloodied, but we're here. And so we thought we would do a review of last year. It's been interesting because we've had, first of all, on the website, thelastmovieoutpost.com, we've had some of the contributors' top 5 movies, which we'll go through in a minute. But today also went up an article of the worst of 2022. And it's funny because I made the list and there's quite a lot that I actually missed off it. So we can go through that as well. Should we start with the negative and go to the positive, or should we just?
It's always funner to do the.
We always kind of end miserably, don't we?
Yeah, let's do the bad stuff first this time.
I'm sad I have no Alec Baldwin update. By the way, I think the holidays that was slow. So I'm sorry for all those.
Even the police are having a break from that.
From that, yeah. So what are you gonna do?
So yeah, obviously we will bring you news as soon as anything comes in. If they've captured his phone, which is still at large, if you see Alec Baldwin's phone, please call the police. But
let's be clear on that, George. We will bring you news the following Sunday after it comes out.
A week late after you've already heard it elsewhere.
After we remember it at the last minute.
That's right. I'm not going to break in on a live stream. Alec Baldwin, guess what?
Nobody cares that much. So
no.
with the bad that's going on this year, one that completely slipped my mind that I completely blanked was Space Jam 2, Space Jam New Legacy, which was
Wait a minute. That really happened? I thought that was the internet name. Did they really make that movie and put that out? I thought that was just a joke.
It wasn't just a 1.5 hour long meme. No, it actually happened. That was just that was terrible in every respect of the word.
Didn't see it.
I did see it, and I mean, it's like it's not like the original was some sort of classic masterpiece for the ages. It's a fun little thing with Michael Jordan and some of the Looney Tunes characters. It's fine, and it has some good jokes, and that's all you had to do, and you just effed it up completely. So
first of all, I've never really heard of LeBron James. Being English, and don't follow sport, I had no idea who he was. Whereas
he's a black basketball player here in the United States, and apparently he's, I guess, famous at it.
He's one of the best probably that ever played, but he's also a complete and utter douchebag. I don't think he's better than Jordan, but I don't know enough about basketball to tell you.
That's all I know him as is he plays basketball, and he's a far left,
He's an insane nut.
Yeah, that's.
And so the thing that really stuck out to me for this one was the fact that they cancelled Pepe Le Pew because obviously
he's
Pepe
French.
Le Pew. No. Let's get this right. He promotes rape, obviously, because he doesn't take no for an answer from the female thing. But they left in the Droogs from Clockwork Orange.
They did.
Which have nothing to do with rape, obviously.
For real.
Yeah.
That is for real. That is the nonsense that we have to deal with these days. You take out Pepe Le Pew. I was right.
It's because he's French. It's not because of that. Because those other dudes are
now that I've reconsidered your point, sir.
Yeah, it must be, yeah. That can be the only logical explanation.
It is bizarre that you would stick the Droogs in there while throwing a fit over Pepe Le Pew, who has never actually raped anyone because he could never catch him. That was the joke, dumbasses. He could never actually catch him because he stank. And the cats would, there were many times in those cartoons where the cats were like, oh, this is a pretty hot hunk of guy, until they caught the skunk stink. That was the joke. So he never raped anyone. He never he was never able to get to anyone because they were gone too quickly.
But obviously he was making advances whilst he stunk. If he smelt nice, then there wouldn't have been an issue.
Even though he never called them, his actions probably would have been something that a female would have called HR over.
This is exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing as with
used
the 50
to be that
Shades of
females
Grey.
thought those were funny too.
Yeah.
But with the 50 Shades of Grey,
that's what I tried to tell them at my last job. That used to be.
Yeah. See, it used to be the weak females of the 50s and 60s just laughed at that and thought it was funny and never were really bothered. But the very strong females of today just can't handle it and throw fits and go to autistic screeching because they're strong, stunning, and brave. That's how it works now.
It's something a sexist would say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure strong, stunning, and brave means autistic screeching. It's the same. That's what it's been redefined to.
It's the difference, like I say, in 50 Shades of Grey, how Mr. Grey in it, whoever played him, I can't even remember, but I mean, he is a gorgeous billionaire, whereas if he was ugly and poor, it would have been stalking.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
And it's been that way forever, right? I mean,
yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean, it's like, it's not the fact. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here dissecting the finer points of Pepe Le Pew is where they've dragged us here. But it's just a freaking cartoon. What I don't understand is, okay, you're all worried about that. You're saying, okay, he's at the very least a sexual assaulter. Okay, then why are the Droogs in the background who absolutely raped? We know they did. It's clear they did. They murdered and raped.
French.
You're fine with them.
French.
Yeah, it must be like Sean said of the French thing. They cancelled him. That's why they've already cancelled him. You didn't cancel him because he's French. No, it's because he rapes. That's the one. Yeah, the rape one. Yeah, not the French one. Obviously, that's like really racist.
They also don't like the Mexicans because they got rid of Speedy Gonzalez as well.
Oh.
Well, the funny thing is apparently they got rid of Speedy Gonzalez, and then loads of Mexicans started writing in saying, "Where's Speedy Gonzalez? We miss him," and they sort of said, "Well, you found him offensive,"
No.
and they all
went, No, we didn't find him offensive.
Yeah.
White lefties found him offensive.
That's the point, though. Is Looney Tunes, whoever made him, Warner Brothers, sort of said, "Oh no, you found him offensive," and all the Mexicans were going, "No, we didn't. We really liked him." Yeah. So you've cancelled somebody on the fact that you think we find it offensive, but we don't.
Well, that's really the white left. Really, they know what's best for you, no matter what race you are. They are the worst racists on the face of the planet, and it's time that everybody start calling them out for what they are.
And they will never be appeased with whatever the situation is. No matter what happens, there is going to be some cause for offence somewhere along the line.
Yeah. I mean, it will get to a point where there can't even be anybody in a movie that's a villain unless they're white. Even if it's a movie set in like the Mexican Revolution, they'll be like, we gotta cast this person as a white man.
Well, my favourite one of that was Dunkirk, because I've got two friends who are experts on British war history. They know, literally everything about it, and we got talking about it, and people were saying that they complained because there was no black representation in Dunkirk, and both of them said that's because there were no black people at Dunkirk. And so historically it's accurate, but obviously we have to make it fit today's narrative of covering all bases and making sure all people are represented nicely in all films.
Well, they did this play that was such a big hit here. What was it last year? Hamilton. And it was they just recast with, black. The entire cast was black of historical people that were real and really existed. It's like, I don't understand the point of that. I really don't.
I would complain just as much if they said there's not enough white representation in Black Panther. It's like, it's in freaking Africa. There shouldn't be any.
Well,
it's the
you
same
would complain.
Thing to me.
Yeah. But it would be funny and very ironically funny to complain for one. But also it would be
within the context of today's insanity, lunatic politics. Yes, but in general, sticking with principle. Yeah. Yes, I would have a problem with that.
I'm going to read here. I'm going to make a pitch. You've all seen Zulu with Michael Caine and what's his face, right? I propose we remake that movie, but all the Zulus are white.
You mean blacked up or just white?
No. I mean just white. The Zulus are like, we've elected these our best warriors are these white guys, and then the Michael Caine and the British soldiers can all be, I don't know, black, of course, yes. So.
What they should do, Sean, is they not only should they be white, they should be like Irish redheads.
Exactly.
Like they're all out on the steaming hot African savannah, and the stuff. Yeah, just burned. Like they're all red, to death. They're just running, going ow, 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 ow.
Quick, get the umbrellas. I've got to throw in here, if you're going to mention Zulu, my excellent Michael Caine impression from Zulu. Just a second.
Oh, here we go. Wait, let me put you in. Okay, go for it.
It's been built up too much now. We crap. Stop chucking them bloody spears. Thank you.
God, I felt like I was at the movie again.
As I say, our first one of 2022. We're already banned from YouTube. That's fantastic.
It's a great movie, though. Just on a side note, it is a great movie, though. It's got one of the best lines ever. It's like, it's a miracle. Oh, if it's a miracle, it's a short magazine boxer 577 miracle, referring to their rivals. Great line.
Let's get back to 2021, because otherwise we're going to review every film ever made. I'm watching every film. So in other ones in 2021, there's a lot to talk about that were bad. One that came up on my radar again, which I reviewed all three of, was the Fear Street trilogy, because I do like a good horror and I was quite looking forward to them, but they were terrible.
Shit.
They were. I imagine the books are great for people who enjoy the Kardashians and kind of that kind of thing. I think it was the middle one is the one where somebody's all tied up and possessed on a radiator. So they go to this girl for help. So then she says, I'll tell you what, I'll help out by telling you an hour and a half long story about when we went to camp. And it's just kind of, our friend is, tied up to a radiator, and you don't want to do this quicker? No, hour and a half? Right, fine. It was just all of them were. It was kind of a great idea, but incredibly badly executed in the details.
Even talking about it bores me.
Did you see them, Yoda?
I did not. I am staying out. I'm staying out of this one. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine. One that we all might have seen then, which was quite big on Netflix, was Army of the Dead.
Dog shit movie.
It was because everybody said it was a dog shit movie that I just didn't bother to watch it. And I tend to it's like, oh, okay, here we go. It's what's his name? Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder. I'm gonna let other people take the hits for me before I.
The amount of grief I got.
I had big hopes for it because the Dawn of the Dead remake. He was very competent at that, and I thought, well, finally he's leaving the capes, and maybe we'll get something good. But man, it did not take long, and it was just like, oh god, no. It was that, and I mean, the attention to detail, the fact that he did his direction of photography with a 1.2 f lens, and so everything had a massive depth of field, which is kind of fine for like certain shots, but to use it all the way through the movie just didn't make sense. The zombie baby. And it was like a script wrote by a committee where everybody's like, man, let's just throw. You want robot zombies that are robot on side? You got it. Oh, you got zombies that can run like a pack of heinies? Oh, you got it. You want a guy that can somehow flip through the air and fire on full auto and make every headshot? And of course, let's not forget the guy that we all argued with for what felt like 10 days on the comment section about the survivability of taking a direct hit from a nuclear bomb in a 100-story vault and then walking out while being irradiated. And
tactical nuclear.
I believe the precedent has already been set by Indiana Jones surviving it in a mid-century refrigerator. I think we know that's just the vault should be not a problem.
If I ever hear an air raid siren, I'm going straight in the fridge.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a deep freeze, man. I'm gonna have twice the survivability.
Well, it's got to have lead in it, though. If it don't have lead in it,
it's true. It does have to be lead lined.
I think they still do in England. That's why we want such bad teeth.
That doesn't surprise me. Well, we all licked enough lead paint when we were kids that we got enough in us already to.
Speak for yourselves.
Oh well.
Go ahead, Superman. Try and look through me.
Yeah. Look, I was a connoisseur of paint chips myself.
Yeah. It was a terrible. Yeah, it is an awful movie, and the cast was.
Again, it was one of those films which, under a more decent director and a decent bit of writing, would have been a good, entertaining movie. But it fell flat on so many levels, and I think the problem is there are certain people out there who think that Snyder is the son of God. And because of that, he can do no wrong. And don't you dare say anything against any of his movies because they are perfect in every respect. Yeah, but what about? No, there are no plot holes. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
That's bizarre. That's bizarre to me that people just refuse to see flaws in their particular. Like, I see no. I root for the Kansas City Chiefs because of pure emotion. And I happen to live here, right? So this is where I grew up. This is why I knew that the Raiders and all the different teams that play them, they are all the root of all evil, and the Kansas City is the root of all good. And does it make any sense? Is it pure emotion? Yeah, of course it is, because it's just entertainment. Who cares? Yeah. But when you watch the movies and stuff, and you like, I mean, when stuff is genuinely not good, and you want the guy to make good movies. I'm like going, why wouldn't you point out that, maybe he could improve here or there? You don't have to shit on it. I mean, we have fun shitting on things sometimes, but really, one of the things I've taken away from 2021 and want to take into 2022, and I've been, when I listen to all the people say, Disney bad, Star Wars bad, everything they do is bad. It's like, well, what if it's good? Then, like what if one thing is good or one thing is bad? It's like I really want to try to take things more on its merits and not just assume or try to read into today's politics into it. I think it's ruining my enjoyment of everything, for one. And two, it's like, you know, there's not, you know, Kathleen Kennedy isn't writing and directing and producing and filming and casting and doing the Craftworks table and all the other shit. You know, there's a lot of people involved in these things, and they're doing some good work. And I don't, not all of it. And yes, the sequels were terrible. But I mean, I'll be happy to say that George Lucas's prequels were terrible. Yeah. So I mean, I'm that's my kind of my New Year's resolution, saying, look, I am not going to sit here and just assume social justice, wokeness, and everything in everything all the time, because
that it's just as bad as what some people do.
It is.
You know, that is, you know, it's exactly, it's kind of looking for it in, some people are looking for it in what they think is a positive way to help improve the film, but then there's looking at it and just trying to be negative about it. Just going in with an open mind and fresh open mind and just thinking, let's give this a chance.
Certainly happened with the Matrix movie, which is a terrible movie, but it is not that. I mean, there might be a very tiny smidge of wokeness in it, but it really isn't. And I try to tell people, like some of the film groups on Facebook, they're like, "Oh," I was like, "No, man, it's not. It's not."
Oh, did you see? Did either of you guys see the Red Letter Media on Matrix rebooted?
I've watched about half of it.
I'm very proud to say that I did it first. I said that is Gremlins 2. I said it many times. I said they were trolling the audience, and these guys. I was at. So you want Red Letter Media? We do it first. Thank you very much.
Let's sue them.
Well, I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm not the only one. I mean, I was right there with them when they were saying, like, this is. We both agreed it wasn't a great movie or anything. I just think that the wokeness and everything wasn't there, and there was a ton of fascinating trolling in it. When they call out Warner Brothers by name in their own movie for making them do this, I you know, and that's the kind of stuff I was like, yes, Matrix Resurrections is not great. It's not going to be great, and nobody should have ever expected it to be great. They couldn't even make the 2 sequels great at the time that they were doing them. But to look at it and say, oh, it's just a reboot, it's just a rehash, it's just woke garbage, you know, the standard, you know, I feel like people on our side are ticking off boxes in the same non-imaginative, just lazy way of looking at things, and that's my point. Is I'm going to do my best and not be that.
I never go in looking for woke. I do, like with Matrix Resurrections, I did think to myself, this is a pointless movie. It's a movie which is not needed. It is just a cash grab. But then, like we spoke about it the other week, seeing the trolling that was going on in the writing, I did actually think to myself, fair play. You know, they've actually sort of like embraced the fact that this movie was going to happen because the accountants at Warner Brothers said, if we make this movie, we will make money. And that's all they cared about. They didn't care about the story or anything else. It's just about making the money. And so for Lana to come back and actually go, look, you guys are going to do this with or without me, so I might as well just join it. I'll get a paycheck, so I don't care.
The only problem with their trolling is they didn't go all the way with it, like Gremlins 2 or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. They should have went full.
That's what I said at the end. I said if they both went willingly back into their pods and that was the end, I would have stood up and applauded. It would have been the biggest middle finger ever. But they didn't have the balls to do that.
But then
literally.
I still say that the Maravidians said that this isn't over, and I still say that there is going to be another couple of movies. Maybe they're saving that for the third one.
Not after this flop. Well, they're not going to put any more money into this.
Maybe 10 more years and a completely rebooted new actor. It may be, but there's not going to be a sequel.
Not of this.
From this.
This new trilogy is now a one-gy. And that's as far as it's going to get.
The thing is look at all the publicity that they've got out of it. You know, even if it has been bad and negative and everything else,
it's not translating into money. You're not getting new subscribers, and they're not selling tickets. So in the end, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even pay to watch it.
I mean, I watched it on HBO Max, but I mean, I don't think anybody got new subscription out of it.
Nobody.
In fact, they're losing subscribers.
Yeah, nobody was like, "Oh, I got to sign up for HBO Max to see the new Matrix movie." No. If you find somebody,
I was going to say all the people that were going to go and see it at the cinema all had to show off their black coats and their sunglasses
and their new black face mask.
But yeah, that's right. They all had to go to the cinema in their black leather coats. I had a friend who used to wear a black leather coat, no matter what the weather, rain, shine, snow, whatever. In the middle of summer, I mean, I'm terrible anyway. I feel the heat really badly, so I always like a vest and a pair of shorts. And he used to be out in his leather jacket because he thought it looked cool, and it was like, no, you're not in the Matrix, all right? It's a hot, blazing hot, sunny day. You look like a sweaty, horrible man.
So in England, is that like 72 degrees?
No, we do centigrade over here. Anything over like 15 is hot, at 15 degrees centigrade, which do you know what?
What does that translate to?
I was just going to say, I'm going to have to look that up. So 15.
There's not going to be any math on this show. All right?
Yeah, just stop now. Yeah.
Look, I mean, we can pick on the guys who wear
59
leather jackets.
59.
59.
That's
not that
rare.
warm.
I know it's not.
That's like jacket weather. That's like legit jacket weather. Maybe not heavy leather jacket, but it's if it'll leave on.
I'm sitting here with my lightsaber here that I spent way too much money on. And I go pick on the guys who wear leather jackets because they thought the Matrix was cool. Love your thing, whatever it is. You want to wear all that shit, that's fine. I'm just saying that this movie, one, is not a success. It's not.
Okay.
And two, it's. I mean,
finished the Small Mercies then.
Yeah, it committed the number one sin. It was boring.
Yeah. It was just like I say. I still say it was just not necessary. It was a movie that didn't need to be told. It didn't need to be expanded on.
Movies that aren't necessary. That's not. I mean, it was just a dull.
No movie's necessary.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's it was just sort of like, why? It's boring. Nothing new, nothing insightful. The trolling wasn't even all that good. You could have got a 14-year-old internet edgelord to troll better than that.
Yeah, I mean, some of the trolling just fell flat as hell. Like that douchebag guy that called Trinity a MILF or something, and he was like the guy that he apparently was a program that was programmed to be a douchebag. And it's like, I get what you're going for here, but it's just too on the nose. It's like not everything worked.
Maybe it's the same program that puts 2 hours in YouTube videos.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what he did when the Matrix took over and YouTube quit being a thing. He's like, well, what about me? Oh, we got just a job for you.
How else can I annoy people?
So what else you got? We talked about that a lot. I could talk about. I do want to talk about. I have a conundrum, and I do want to talk about it a little bit. I did see West Side Story with my wife.
Okay.
I have never seen. You? What? Did she make me?
Yeah.
A little bit. Look, guys. I mean, all joking aside, I think the movie is fantastic. It's a great movie, and it should be, because West Side Story is a classic that's been around for over 60 years. It's always been a classic movie. It's changed a bit. There was one idiotic woke moment in there that I had to kind of look up because I haven't seen the original yet, and I do want to see it. But overall, it was great. And why wouldn't it be great? It's West Side Story, right? So here's my conundrum. Here's the thing. We complain about reboots and stuff like that all the time. Do they not constantly put on the plays or the musicals on Broadway or whatever of classic shows, from Shakespeare to South Pacific to, they you go and you watch the play. I went to the dinner theater and I watched On Golden Pond because it was originally a play. Very well done. It was done exactly the same as it's always done, except you got a few different actors in there. And and nobody complains about this sort of thing, right? And when Spielberg made West Side Story, he made it a period piece. He didn't try to update it or anything like that. It's in the 50s. It's a very, very faithful adaptation of West Side Story. So my question is like, if that's not a problem, and nobody's had a problem of them, putting out these plays or putting in new shows. Cats runs forever, the same one for 40 years, or they bring it back, and all these other plays, the Phantom of the Opera and all that kind of stuff. And we have no complaints about that, which is basically every time you recast it or put in new, you're essentially rebooting it every time. Every night you're rebooting it, right?
Different audience, though, man. That's a different.
I was going to say
it is a different audience. I agree.
The theatre audience are very snobby people who wouldn't go trolling on the internet about it and that kind of thing. They would. I imagine British people just sort of going, "Oh, did you see the new thing? Yeah, I didn't think very much of it," and that was kind of it. As opposed to, going online and going, I hated this and blah, blah, blah.
But I mean, why is it wrong to reboot a movie and okay to reboot Broadway? I mean, it's basically you're putting out a play every time. You're showing it on a flat screen.
I do think it's very difficult to keep the same cast in a Broadway show
that's
for
my
70
point.
years.
That's my point. That's every time you're recasting it, isn't that technically a reboot?
I suppose.
Yeah, but it's a different audience and a different sort of thing. Like there's different expectations between the two things. I think the two.
You're watching people act out a story.
Okay? Yeah, I know, but
the medium is different. But I mean, there's got to be a lot of overlap. I know I like plays and I like movies.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's the expectations of the audiences are different things. The theater going, like he said, is very, pretentious. This is art. This is the theater where they act with nothing else. And look at the craft and all that kind of bullshit.
Well, a lot of musicals started out on Broadway and then they became a classic movie in Oklahoma, South Pacific, things like that, right? Sound of Music, even, I think.
Yeah.
So they start out there, then they amp them up to become a classic movie because they have a different way of doing it now, where they can put it together with better sets and different camera angles, and they can do different takes. It's a different medium, but it's essentially the same story. It's just a little bit different. And so here Spielberg does West Side Story. It's wonderful. I was genuinely moved by it by the end because the story is that powerful, right? And we see guys occasionally.
The story is Romeo and Juliet in a
essentially
more updated form, yeah.
Essentially,
talk about a remake.
That's true. That's true. It is a remake, but I mean, we've seen people put out, Hamlet, Macbeth, all that kind of stuff into movies, maybe different ways, but it's generally pretty faithful, especially the dialogue, right?
Yeah.
And those are essentially reboots. Every single time it's a freaking reboot. So this just got me to thinking, and I thought it'd be a fun thought exercise. Is why I'm bringing it up. It's like, why, when I watch West Side Story, I'm genuinely moved. The singing was good. The acting was good. Everything was great. There is something to be said for high schoolers actually looking like high schoolers instead of 33-year-olds. So, I mean, there were some changes from the original based on what I read. But for the most part, it's pretty faithful. And there's a couple of things I think are kind of might be even an improvement. Now, my wife says that should get an Oscar. I was like, there's no way it's going to get an Oscar. It already got all the Oscars back in the 1950s. It's not going to do it again. You can't just copy something like that. But it didn't take away from my enjoyment of it. And is it a way to get, how many kids do you know, or even people do you know that say, I'm not watching that. It's in black and white.
No, I've heard that expression before.
Yeah. So it's old. I'm not watching it. Well, if somebody redoes it and makes it, for a new audience and redoes it for new people, if it's a great story and you're introducing them to something that is something better than Alvin and the Chipmunks shit on a carpet or whatever they
man, don't knock it till you've seen it.
I have seen it. It's terrifying. I was just about to say, bad.
Don't you dare dish Alvin and the Chipmunks. How dare you?
Yeah.
Listen, man, don't cross any red lines this earth. The year just started.
Got a new Sonic movie coming out. And even as much as I enjoy most of them, another, MCU beat 'em up, Skybeam, the same bullshit. And here's a classic story that maybe, it should almost be required in school. I mean, there were stories that were required in school, right? Before it became nonsense schools the way it is now.
For the record, I've never had really a problem with reboots. I don't like reboots when they're done, just a couple of years after some movie, but I've never really been a reboot.
But I do think that there's sometimes that there are issues. Again, because often, say, with reboots and stuff, I mean, Mad Max Fury Road is a classic example that, to me, that film was it was so good, but my expectations for it were so low because I just thought, grief, another Mad Max film. And every now and then one does come out and surprises. The Mummy was a remake, a reboot back in 1999, was it? With Brendan Fraser in that. And again, it was great fun. I mean, it was bloody stupid and everything else. But
that is such a dramatic. I mean, I don't know if I guess it's technically a reboot, but it's so different that, I mean, it's a different genre even almost.
No, yeah, but then conversely, Yoda, would you say that this new one is a reboot or a remake?
A remake, because it's clearly it's almost line for line,
Yeah, remake. We should have. Yeah, okay. So I'm not anti-remake. Reboot, where they just you take something like, it's like, oh well, we fucked up. Let's like I think a good example of a reboot, especially done, would be the Bayformers. Is they had the three, and then they sort of did that Bumblebee, and then kind of went into like a weird retcon. That to me is like the bad reboot. Remake is fine. Like we said, the Dawn of the Dead remake is not a reboot. It's not trying to like use the same universe and timeline and stuff. So the remake is fine. I don't, and of course there's always somebody's going to complain about that too. But I think remakes are fine. Especially there's time passes and. Well,
when you think about it, the Thing is a remake.
The Thing is a fucking probably the defining, gold standard for remake that hits it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think now of what a reboot, because I'm probably in the same opinion that remakes, like I say, if they're done with that love and passion and they're done well, and they're also not done of a movie which is already perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to remake Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind,
Right.
But even Star Wars, right? Which they did. Well, there you go. Force Awakens. Is that a remake or a reboot?
Yeah, you could kind of,
because it's kind of a sequel too, right?
Yeah, it's kind of, so that's what I think a reboot is. It's a sequel, but it also kind of retcons or resets sort of the story and tries to take it in a slightly course correction.
Yeah.
I'm sure is what they think they're doing. The X-Men movies is a good example of rebooting. Some people I think refer to it as a soft reboot, but
they didn't give a crap about continuity in those X-Men movies.
Right. So when they went from the X-Men movies to those like First Class and all that, to me that's and then they reset the timeline. That's to me is a reboot.
I guess if you're gonna remake it, basically what you're saying is, we're gonna take the same movie, but the movie and any subsequent sequels that came with it don't exist. We don't care about them. They're not. They have nothing to do with any of this, right?
The recent Halloween sequels are a good example of a reboot. They
ignore everything. They're pseudo sequels. They're still sequels.
Well, but it can be the same thing though. Oftentimes a reboot is a sequel because it's
if you're going to make a remake. Well, or you want to call it a reboot, I suppose. But if you're going to make a remake, you're basically going to make it in the 70s with Laurie Strode recast, right?
That would be a remake, yeah.
That would be a remake. This is a pseudo sequel, another false start pseudo sequel that they've had. They had Halloween 4, The Curse of Michael Myers, and that went on for a little bit. And then they redid the sequel with Halloween H2O. And they said Halloween 1 and 2 existed, but nothing else after that. And then they did another one of those. And then Rob Zombie, I guess, technically did a remake.
Yeah, those are definitely remakes.
Those are in their own universe. And then you get to Halloween 2018, and that is a sequel.
Reboot. I would call that a sequel kind of reboot of the series.
Yeah.
Because
when reboot gets so nebulous,
Well, when it attempts a retcon, of past sequels, that is a reboot to me, because it's like, we really screwed up. Let's try to reset things. That to me is a reboot.
So Matrix Resurrections.
I would call that, yeah.
That is called a cash grab.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's a sequel. I mean, it
is a sequel, and most reboots are sequels, though. That's the thing, Like,
well, yeah, and that's where things get. It's like, well, okay, Force Awakens is a sequel. It's clearly a sequel. It's got, for God's sakes, it's got a number on it, number 7. But it's also the storyline.
Giving the audience way too much credit there, that they can count that high.
Yeah, but the storyline's basically redoing Star Wars, at least the plot beats, right? It's not its own thing. So I don't know.
Coming back on track, one of the other movies that was quite a disappointment this year was Home Sweet Home Alone, because that was it was a sequel, so a reboot, because it contained Buster. No, was it Buster?
Guys, I'm going to step away for just a second while you guys talk about this. I haven't seen it anyway, but I'll be right back.
That's how upset he is by it. It's because he really liked it. But Home Sweet Home Alone had Buzz, that's right, Kevin's older brother in it as a security guard, and so it was kind of a soft reboot, really, but with just different people, but the same premise to the story. But I mean, just coming back to 2021, that was just it was awful. It was
I mean, I think what I'm getting at, and as I've been talking through this and listening to you guys, I think what I'm getting at is that I after seeing West Side Story, it's like I'm hesitating to just immediately write things off because they were done before,
right?
Or that they are reboot or remake or whatever. Because what if I'm cheating myself out of something really, really good? Now, I'll be the first to say that most of it is crap. but
conversely, that is exactly the experience I had with Mad Max Fury Road. Right. I saw the trailers and I thought, nothing on my planet Earth makes me want to watch that. I was not a massive fan of the originals. They were okay, but I can live without them. And then my mate said, no, you got to come and see it. And he sort of dragged me to the cinema, and both of us just left it. Just, whoa, that was, it was great. It was, and so now and then it does work. And so my problem is I go into a reboot, a remake, or whatever it is, one of these sequels that are 30 years after and everything else, just going, ugh, and just not expecting much. But then quite a lot of the time, I'm pleasantly surprised. Blade Runner 2049. I was pleasantly surprised at how well that turned out.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Dune is technically a remake. Or that one gets even more nebulous because it's a readaptation of an existing story. They just screwed it up the first time, so now they're doing it again and dooning it again. You see what I did there? Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Comedy gold. You don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, no. It is a readaptation of the book. The book's there first, so they tried it first time, didn't work. Try it second time, it worked. And that's been something that's been done plenty of times too, where they take a classic story and they remake it, or they adapt it different ways. Yeah. Right.
I mean, technically, in bringing this into a completely different genre, then a lot of things are just a reboot of a movie. Of a book. I mean, a lot of books are then adapted into movies. And so if you've read the book and then you watch the movie, obviously the movie can't contain the same kind of thing, like The Shining, for example. So again, but it's still technically a remake of a different format.
Yeah, it'll break your brain after a while. That's just what I was
going to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you go ahead.
Well, he just says, "Hi, chaps. Latest I was watching the football." Whatever. Would you class each new James Bond as a reboot? I suppose technically they are, because they are rebooting the character, but with a different actor. The same character, but with a different actor.
Well, it's really nebulous from Connery to Brosnan, right? Because there are moments in there where they talk about how he was previously married, referring to On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Right.
But then there's also moments, and again, I'll refer to Her Majesty's Secret Service, where in the previous movie, Bond met Blofeld. Blofeld has a scar. Now they act like they have never seen each other before. Blofeld has no scar. And then after Blofeld kills his wife in that movie, then in Diamonds Are Forever, he's going after Blofeld because of that. Right? So, I mean, continuity is all over the board there. So I would say that really what each new James Bond is just an adaptation of one of the Fleming novels. And if it works with continuity, great. If it doesn't, then we don't give a crap. Now, Daniel Craig is clearly a reboot of the series. It is saying all that stuff didn't happen. This is a new start, a new beginning for Bond, a new way of doing it. And the success rate on those, I think that really depends on the viewer, and your mileage may vary.
We both just had oops, can you add me back in? No, Sean wants to come back.
He hung up.
Should we just leave him? Yeah, should we leave him?
No, screw it.
Oh, no, wait, he's back. Shush.
Blood outside.
I think you're wrong, Yoda. I think Sean's great. Oh, there he is.
It's currently flooding in Kentucky, and I had to move some things before the water got in. It's all right. It won't get to me. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Fair play, dude.
Then he asks about Star Trek Into Darkness. Well, Star Trek Into Darkness and the whole J.J. Abrams track was the Kelvin verse, as they call it. It's basically Doc Brown's alternate timeline. That's
it's a reboot because you got the original Spock. It references the original series, so to me
But they said that the stuff with Kirk and everything did exist, because when Spock shows up on the planet for no reason at all, he's from that universe. And then when he went back, him and Nero going back changed the timeline, so that Kelvinverse is now an alternate timeline from all the Trek that we knew. And they did that so that Trek fanboys wouldn't, burn down Abrams' house by saying we're just throwing it all into the dumpster. Because I mean, you think they would have learned their lesson from that, because it generally kept fanboys had plenty to complain about for the Star Trek movies. But
I was just thinking, actually, how nice it is that J.J. Abrams has united both Star Trek and Star Wars fans together.
Yeah,
that's really sweet.
We tried keeping continuity in Trek, so we're going to toss it all in the dumpster with Star Wars. Boy, you can't make any of these people happy. They're mad no matter what you do.
I was going to say, you can see a bunch of angry Star Wars fans and angry Star Trek fans all sort of going, "Is that J.J. Abrams?
Get him!"
He did something, but not in the way he probably hoped.
Should we come back to some? Let's chat about a couple more bad movies, because one that we do have to mention that came out this year is King Kong versus Godzilla.
I liked it.
What, really?
I did like it. It didn't bore me. It gave me exactly what I wanted: King Kong and Godzilla fighting.
I appreciate that it didn't take itself. I was all in when the guy basically to stop Mechagodzilla, he does a Homer Simpson, just pours beer all over the console. I'm like, I'm in. You got me now.
I mean, what did they want? It's
a monkey fighting a lizard. What do you want?
No, but to me, that was what was wrong. Is they overdid the story of sort of going to the Middle Earth and then finding the Bluetooth.
They did go berserk, didn't they?
How many Japanese Godzilla movies have you seen? Is my first question.
Quite a few.
So, if you're looking at this as like, I want this to be like the Japanese Godzilla movies, you got what you asked for. If you wanted it to be an Americanized version, it's not. It's pretty, it's very bizarre and weird and out there, just like a Japanese. Oh, we've got aliens coming down to take control of the monsters. It's just a.
Did the original Godzilla movies? Didn't they have like two women, like twin women that were like this tall, And they could talk to Mothra. I mean, that's the kind of bizarre drug-addled shit that was going on before. So
I don't understand any of the people that they're like, I'm a Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla. But these American, it's like, dude, what do you? I don't. You got what you want.
But again, you see, like I say, with a movie like that, to me, a movie like that is literally sort of like it's a 5 or 10 minute thing. Two of them fighting. The fact of dragging out for a couple of hours, I found myself ridiculously bored at the overcomplicated story of what should have just been a monkey fighting a lizard.
You just overthought it, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's probably one of these being English. I'm just far too intelligent to understand it.
That's what it is. You just all those years of, you know. I mean, I liked it. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, I don't think it's a great masterpiece, but it delivered everything I want. It was not boring. It was crazy. It was a Godzilla trounced all over.
I'm gonna throw this at you, Sean, just as part of my criteria. One of my favorites this year was Free Guy, and I've gone back and watched it, and I find it very entertaining. It's also not a masterpiece. It has a lot of stupid stuff in it because of the nature of what it is. But I find it has repeat value. I don't find myself going back to watch Godzilla versus King Kong. I have no desire to go and see it again. So I think there's you watch it the first time, you go, oh yeah, that was fun. I think that ought to work into the equation. Do you ever find yourself going back and wanting to watch any of this stuff? And
I've seen it 3 times.
No.
I've seen it 3 times.
Okay,
yeah,
I mean that's fair. I'm not.
Listen.
I'm not judging you. Not judging you. If you love it, that's great.
I am.
Listen,
yeah,
guys,
that's you.
That's
thing. You're British. You do that.
Here's the thing to remember about me, and always take this in consideration when I give my opinion. I have movies in 4K Blu-ray in my collection with names like Women's Prison Massacre, Rape Squad, Last Cannibal World. So,
we will bear that in mind for the future. My God.
My taste in movies go to the B to Z grade exploitation. So it oftentimes things that you might look at as pure trash, I fucking love it. So
no, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that Godzilla versus Kong is pure trash or anything. I don't think any of them pure trash. But I have not found any of these American Godzilla movies. I find I watch them once and that's good enough. I would probably go back and rewatch some of those Japanese Toho ones before I'd rewatch one of these. And that's just my criteria. That's just one of my criteria. It's like, does it have a decent story? Was I engaged? All that kind of stuff. And then do I find myself compelled to go watch it again? If I have to say no, then I have to kick it down a couple of notches,
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I mean, you didn't make my top 5 of the year list.
No.
But, it was fun for me.
I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I saw it like 3 times within the month it come out. And, I haven't watched it since. Will I eventually buy it on Blu-ray? Absolutely, But, King Kong Skull Island was probably a better movie as far
probably
as
the best of all of them.
Yeah, it was probably the best because it probably was. And I'm a Vietnam War.
But again,
so I really.
The story of Kong Island, I just remember them going to an island and there's lots of big monsters. That's the story. That's everything I can remember about that movie.
What else do you want?
No, but again, that's what I'm saying is why make a movie like this?
Between Godzilla and King Kong where they come... That's the West Side Story we should have got, by the way. Yeah. Godzilla and Kong falling in love.
You can imagine there's somebody out there pitching it at the moment.
I would.
I was about to.
Yeah. Dude, I would pay solid money to see Godzilla going, I feel pretty, oh so pretty.
And just everybody in the audience going,
what the hell is this?
So speaking of Free Guy then, let's move on to some of our favourites for the year. Let's finish on a positive. Let's see if we can not slag some of these off. Because Yoda, your 3rd favourite movie of the year was Free Guy.
Yeah, and the one thing I disappointed myself is that those of you who have been paying attention to this show, and certainly you guys know, I've been kind of just bogged down by trying to pass a test for my job.
which he's passed. Yes, well done,
Drug
Yoda.
test.
Right on
That's
there.
right.
Drug test. He did.
Yeah.
That's right. I needed a score of 720. I got a score of 720. You may call that squeaking by. I call it hole in one,
Pass.
baby.
Yeah.
Got exactly what I needed. Hit the score right, the nail on the head. That's hard to do.
Well, you say hole in one. It was the second time you took it, though, wasn't it?
It was the second time I took it.
Sorry.
The truth is, I got a 780, but that doesn't help the bit. Stop screwing up my bit. You're messing with the comedy here, man. That's sacred.
There's nothing wrong with underachieving. I always said.
So, what was I saying? Oh, my third. I did not put Spider-Man: No Way Home on my list, which I wish I had. It should be on the list. I don't know where, but it should be. But yes, number 3. Did I put Free Guy number 3?
You had just to go through them. You had as your top 5. You had number 5 was Green Knight. Yeah. Number 4 was Last Night in Soho. Number 3 was Free Guy. Number 2 was Nobody, and then number 1 was Dune.
Yes, Dune was my. Well, for one, Denis Villeneuve, and you mentioned Blade Runner 2049 earlier. I mean, Denis Villeneuve, he just seems to just hit the nail on the head every time when he makes.
He's never made a bad movie.
He has not. And Dune was one of those. It was one of those from your childhood that you wished you liked, but you just couldn't get your mind around. And you know that people talked about the book, but you just never had time to read the book. And just seems like something you should like, but you just can't seem to like it. And thank you for Denis for making a movie that made me absolutely fall in love with the whole thing, the Arrakis and Atreides and all the lore and all the stuff, and made it very accessible but not dumbed down. I mean, you got to give it to him, because that is a difficult movie to adapt. And David Lynch is no slouch, you know. I mean, he's a good director and a good writer. He's done a lot of great stuff, but he just couldn't quite, find the formula for it. And the effects in there and some of the other things, it's just so amazing.
That's what I always said about Dune, that I have seen the David Lynch's version several times, and I still really enjoy it. I think the characters are very good. I like the voiceover that goes with it, because it explains a lot more. It's a solid movie, but it's just those effects that you look at them and you just go, ugh, and it just takes you out of the whole thing for a moment.
There's a few that are good, but I mean, I hesitate to give a lot of crap to effects from 1984. I mean, I kind of find them charming.
He made a solid movie with with the technology he had, but then I always said that Dune needed that update, and that's what Dune got. And what Denis did was give you a movie which was unbelievably believable every single second of it. Nothing took you out of the film at any point in time.
There's not a bad frame in the movie either.
No,
it's just beautiful.
No, and my biggest problem with it is that it's only half a movie. I need part 2.
That's the bit that got me. But is when it came to the end and it went black, and I was going, "Don't put the credits up." No.
Yeah.
No, don't stop now.
It needs more. But
I was not ready for the ending. Yeah.
He understood you needed it to give it time to breathe, and he knew where to cut things and where to. I mean, just everything worked perfectly for him. So if you like Dune, I cannot imagine you would find any fault in how that movie worked.
Let's move on to Sean's list. Now, Sean, you picked as your top 5. Number 5, Old Henry. Number 4 was Dune. Number 3 was Wraith of Man. Number 2 was Kate. And then your number 1, which we'll probably have a bit of a chat about, is Dashcam.
Yeah. Most of those, only Dashcam is in the spot of its, value to me. The rest of them, they were not in any particular order. But Dashcam was the only one that was I could say with a doubt that was my favorite movie of the year.
Without obviously spoiling anything, give us a quick preview of what it's about.
So it's about this girl who does YouTube live streaming shows, much like we're doing, and she goes to England to visit some friends that she was in a band with, and kind of through a comedic series of events, she ends up going as a Uber Eats driver.
Yeah.
And picks up somebody that turns out to be from something Lovecraft would have wrote, basically. And then we get
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and then so we get to see hijinks and things go wrong more and just get worse and worse while she's live stream. Help me out on this one because you've seen it too.
It's you recommended it to me, and we've generally got a pretty good taste on movies, apart from the whole Godzilla thing, which I've now completely forsake you as a friend.
Not fired.
As soon as this Skype call's over, I'm blocking you on everything. But no, you recommended it, and we were sent a screener at the last movie outpost, and so I gave it a view, and it is kind of like a found footage thing, but it's done in a live stream. What's very clever about it is you have comments coming up of people watching the live screen. You see the numbers going up and down, and sometimes it loses connection and stuff. But the whole thing is brilliantly edited for a found footage movie. Even though it's not found footage, it's
not
fantastic.
I hate to call it that, but that's the closest thing that you can use to describe it, because people hear found footage and they're already checking out. It's not really that.
But no, it's
when it cuts out, you still follow the story. So it's not like, oh, you big chunks are missing.
It's very well done. It's by the same director. It's by a director called Rob Savage, who did Host, who did a horror movie set over Zoom, which is available on Shudder. And if you haven't had the chance to see that, I've seen it, and Sean, it's on your list, isn't it? I watched it because it was by Rob Savage. Host is brilliant. Host is really cleverly done, and he's done the same kind of magic with Dashcam. He's obviously a horror director who understands the genre incredibly well, and
it's a bit of. We should also add that it is horror comedy too. It's not slapstick retarded, but it's like not Return of the Living Dead that level, or Reanimator that style, where the horror elements really are horror.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's that comical. It's more this comedy. I think is much more subtle.
Yeah.
In it, but yes, you can put it that way. We've just had Zap B join us. I'm taking it. That's Zap Brannigan. His attention to detail is adorable. That's for Dennis, yes, obviously. Get in for old Henry. That was Eggy Weggy who did a review.
Admirable, not adorable.
Admirable. Sorry.
It's a very different tone there, the way you say.
This is my dyslexia. Thank you very much.
You're the ones who invented this damn language. I don't know what the problem is here.
It's the spelling, obviously.
I understand.
It was interesting. You had Wraith of Man and Kate on there. What is it you liked about those two?
Just Rather Man. I liked it because I like a good revenge story. Same with Kate. Okay. Fun. Kate was not the 70-pound woman beating up 250-pound men. I appreciated that. I would have added Nobody to it, but I completely forgot that I'd watched it.
I was surprised you didn't put Nobody on there.
Man, when he said, give me your top 5, and I was like, okay, what have I seen? And, you see so much in a year, and but I would put it in there tied for any of the other ones past Dashcam, as an honorable. Yeah. I would add it.
I feel like I like Nobody because it was like John Wick without any of the slickness. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like a good revenge story, and Kate and Wrath of Man. They satisfied that because they're simple. They're not some big high, but they're not even John Wick level budget and stuff. But I really liked them. They're simple action. I got guns. I got killing. I got violence. I liked it.
As long as you got that in, you're a happy.
In fact, man. You know what? Now, if I could, I would probably replace Old Henry with Nobody. If I had to replace one of them, that would be the one that I would replace. And I like Old Henry.
Yeah, Old Henry definitely is up there with one of the better movies of the year. It was fantastic. It was really, really good. I'm not much into westerns, but it was such a cracking movie with such a good, don't want to say twist at the end, but when the end is explained, it was really, really well done. It was really nicely done. Yeah. My top 5. Oh, I was going to say my top 5 were Censor. Which was a British horror, which was incredibly well done. The Green Knight had to go in there because I thought it was great. Last Night in Soho. Then for my number 2,
Yeah, you're outvoted on this one, Sean. I know that.
But this is boring as hell.
I think you are absolutely off the mark on Last Night in Soho. I think it was very taut, put together, well done. George and I are on the same page.
I would agree that it's very well done, skillfully made movie. Absolutely. And I do like Edgar Wright most of the time. That one just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me, I guess. Maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe I wasn't in the right mood or something, you know?
I had no idea what to expect from it. And I think that's why I liked it. I didn't know where the story was going to go. And the way the story played out, I thought was brilliantly done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to put any spoilers if you haven't seen it, but, I just like the idea that who we thought was bad was not, and who we But then some of the people that are victims, they ain't exactly
squeaky clean.
Yeah, squeaky clean. It's just like, and people you think are this person, it turns out are not, and it kept me guessing, and I appreciate that.
I thought it was very, very well. The more I think about it and the way the story played out, because she originally goes to London, but it's only when she moves out of her digs and gets a private rent, that's when it starts playing up. And it was great. For me, number 2, I put down as Spider-Man No Way Home, because I just thought the way, funny enough, we've been talking about reboots and remakes and retie-ins and whatever. This was kind of like the ultimate managing to reboot sort of sequel, 3 different franchises from 3 different angles, and I thought it did it brilliantly. I think it's a piece of cinema that we will never see again for a very long time.
Well, until Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right?
No, I suppose, yeah.
Eggy asked about the Tomorrow War. I did see that one, and it was okay. I did, it would not make my top 10 list or nothing, but I had all right time. I liked it all right.
You know what? I was the same actually. I was very surprised at how they did it, and the way they panned the story out was actually really well done. It was an enjoyable movie. Again, probably wouldn't put it in the top 5, but I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was a good piece.
I need to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. Basically the stuff I was getting from people in general was just, I just found it not that compelling.
Well, that's probably it. I mean, it isn't.
Have you seen it, Yoda?
No, I haven't.
All right. No, it's worth a watch. It's for a quality piece of action entertainment. It's great.
I think I mean, when I watched it, it's like, we need all these people to come to the future, and we need you to help us win this war. Okay, let's let you out 45 stories above the ground.
Well, it goes wrong
without parachutes.
They didn't do that on purpose.
It's like, I know they didn't do it, but it's like, I'm already, when I see that, I'm already checking out.
It's the American Army. What do you expect?
Military intelligence. Yeah. There's a big oxymoron.
My number 1 was Dune again, which I watched recently over the last couple of days again, and just to get it, still love it. Sean Bird, one of our other contributors, his top 5 was, which hasn't been mentioned yet, Suicide Squad.
Really?
And then, yeah. Really? I was completely nonplussed by Suicide Squad. It was all right, but I don't imagine I'll watch it again.
I guess that's his Kong.
I'm with you on Suicide Squad. I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh. No compelling reason to watch it again.
His number 4 was Censor. Again, a very well-paced British horror.
Watch that.
It's got a very good conclusion to it. I thought it was one of those movies where I was left very satisfied at the end and the way that the story played out. It was really good. No Sudden Move, which I hadn't even heard of.
I saw the trailer for it, but I haven't watched it. Nothing about it looked,
It's a heist movie, although there's no robbery. I might have to look it up, but I can't say I've heard of it. His number 2 was Finch, with Tom Hanks and the robot, which again I enjoyed, but it's not the kind of film I'd watch several times. And his number 1 was Dune, and that was it. Apart from some of our contributors saying R.I.P. Betty White. We did do a write-up of Betty White. That was very sad.
Taken too soon. A young life snuffed out too soon.
I was watching the news, and they're like, they said, "Oh man, we can't believe it. Betty White has died." I was like, She was 99. What do you mean you can't believe it?
I can't believe she didn't die 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, God bless her. I love her. I wish she hadn't died, and she was great. I'd love to see her keep doing these hilarious things, but to act like this is just such an unbelievable moment. It's like she's 99 years old. She was 2 weeks away from her 100th birthday. This was the most obvious thing that was going to happen this year.
She didn't even have anything wrong with her. She just got so old she just quit.
Not to get political on this, but there was, when the lockdown went on, there was a chap on our local TV who was moaning at his local care home and moaning at the government because his 103-year-old dad had died of COVID. And it was kind of, he's 103 years old. He wasn't going to go on forever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that COVID took him. That's really bad.
He just got accepted to university.
He was going to try out for the soccer team next week.
I did like the comment that somebody put on the RIP for Betty White saying, it's not known how she died. She's 99. It was obviously a skateboarding accident.
That's exactly. You should have used that yourself and kept credit.
Actually, with Betty White, there's a 50-50 chance.
Chance it could have been. But funny enough, there was only a few weeks ago that Betty White was writing on Twitter that Ryan Reynolds needs to get over her crush, his crush on her.
Yeah.
And that's great, that she had that sense of humor. And it was interesting that she had, I think he was called Arthur Duncan, who was a black performer on her TV show. And there were so many complaints and everything else, but she just sort of said, look, live with it. I'm not changing anything. And the show eventually got cancelled. And she tweeted about it. What can I say? I'm a badass bitch.
Hubris is what killed her. Hubris. She
Hubris.
Was bragging about, she's like, I'm going to be 100 in a few days. Look, all this great stuff I used to do got smited.
Actually, saying that, just to mention one other film that wasn't mentioned in most people's top 10s, but did come out this year, was the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because again, that kind of being as long as it is, it's difficult to sort of sit down and I'll just have a quick watch of that, because it's over 4 hours.
I did a whole commentary on that. You can find it on youtube.com. Come to Last Movie Outpost.
www.youtube.com.
That's right.
But
I'm 51. Go to hell.
That was a decent cut of Justice League. It was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think he really smashed it out of the park. It was great.
It was fine. It was better than what we got. Did he smash it out of the park?
I mean, the problem is you take all the slow motion out of it. It's only actually 4.5 minutes. But
let me. I just had a thought. I wonder. How when the Deer Hunter came out, it was this. Won all these Oscars and it was much beloved. And then the dude made. What was it, Heaven's Gate, and it ruined his career, and it almost retroactively ruined people's takes on the Deer Hunter after that. And I wonder if Snyder has done damage to his previous films that were, would have or films that would have been good, or maybe people would have thought more of. But
I thought you were going to say Joss Whedon.
Well, that too.
Well, that's a whole other conversation, isn't it?
Because Joss, some of the movies that he has made have been great. Avengers and Age of Ultron are both crackingly good movies. But
I love Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is. Did he direct that though? He didn't direct that one, did he?
No, it was Matt Reeves.
He wrote it, but I think he wrote it.
I know he had a lot of. He had his hand deep up its skirt. So.
But what did he have to do with the movie? Oh no, it was Drew Goddard who directed it. But it was written by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard. Yeah. But like I say, it is difficult now going back and watching some films. I did watch the X-Men series, and all I kept thinking about was Bryan Singer and just
what the hell he was. I know he's totally ruined Superman Returns.
yeah, that's what it was that ruined that movie.
Yeah. It was a complete classic up until then. Well, that is an interesting conversation, though. I mean, you look at guys like Bill Cosby. I love the Cosby Show. I loved his stand-ups. The old Fat Albert, the Cosby Kids. We grew up with that, watching stuff like that. Then you find out he's a complete and utter, sleazebag. And it's like this
takes the edge off.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just hard to watch. I mean,
I don't know.
The Cosby Show was. Oh, I know. You worry about what was going on the Cosby Show now, and it's like it was a great show that portrayed, a very positive family, environment and all that kind of stuff. It was really well, and it was funny. It was genuinely funny.
Yeah.
And now I can't watch it anymore. I can't even find it anymore. And it's like,
what
did Malcolm Jamal Warner do? It was not his fault. What did little Rudy do? Why does she get no residuals now? Because Bill Cosby is a piece of shit. No, I think it's a discussion we're talking about sometimes.
Did you say Rudy? Separating... Did you say Rudy or Roofie?
Rudy.
We know what happened with the roofies.
Roofie, yeah. Trying to keep it clean here. Trying to have a serious conversation about something. Clearly, you don't have that. Still have a lot of New Year's cheer running through your veins, I'm guessing.
For a while.
I think that's one of the conversations we should have. The idea of separating art from artists.
It is. I saw something with Kevin Spacey in recently. I think it was Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey. John Grisham.
Time to Kill.
Time to Kill. And again, in that, he plays a really creepy guy in that because he's kind of the bad guy, the bad lawyer. And again, it's sort of horrible to watch because you think of what's gone on. And it, like you say, separating the art from the artist is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, look at Baby Driver. Very good movie.
No,
not talked about because Kevin Spacey was in it. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Ref with Dennis Leary. Kevin Spacey is in that. Nobody talks about it anymore. It's like, it's a shame because it's a great movie. And it's like, it's a struggle. It's like, then you get into, to me, it's like, if you don't separate the art from the artist, or because there's other people involved in this piece of art besides that one actor, right? Or that one director and all that kind of stuff. And then if you take it to its natural conclusion, I think you end up with the whole cancel culture thing that we have. If everybody isn't 100% pure, they can have nothing, and we have to get rid of them and get rid of their.
But then the problem is that you get a situation where, if you want to dig up dirt on anybody, you can dig up dirt on anybody, no matter what the situation is. If you look hard enough, you will find stuff that you disagree with. And so, like you say, it's no good. It was much better in the days before social media when the actors on the screen were just actors on the screen, and you knew in the papers that they'd married somebody famous, and that was kind of it. Whereas nowadays they live their lives on social media, and everything that is said is scrutinized, and if they put a full stop in the wrong place, they're completely and utterly torn to shreds type of thing.
Well, and I think it depends. Like, I don't care how good of an artist he was, I'm not buying any of Hitler's paintings, right? So there's obviously the severity of the crime obviously plays into all this. And I don't know where the line is sometimes. And when you start talking about TV shows and movies, I mean, you see the credits after a movie, it runs for 15 minutes with thousands of people on it. Why do they all get punished because this one actor that was in it was a piece of crap? I struggle with this, I get not wanting to reward the guy, but it's like, I don't know. Interesting thought. I'm all about the thought exercises for some reason in this episode. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, don't let us think. We're talking about movies here.
Yeah. I know.
If I'd known it was going to turn into some kind of actual intellectual discussion, I wouldn't have brought it up.
I know. I won't do that no more. Spider-Man's awesome.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Whip.
Quiet Place 2 hasn't had any love, I think he's put from anyone.
Because nobody cares.
I must admit, I did like the first one. I thought the first one was done quite well. The second one was, again, just one of those movies I just didn't think was needed.
Yeah.
The first one made money, and then they just sort of threw money at the second one, and it was all right, but I wouldn't put it down as any kind of masterpiece.
I think the problem with it is that The Quiet Place is a well done movie based on a gimmick, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
And so that's fresh and new. You could almost say The Matrix is a little bit like that.
Happy Death Day is a good example of that too.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a horror take on Groundhog's Day, and then they made a sequel. It's like,
well, Groundhog's Day by itself is really, I mean, every time they redo that idea, it's just, you know, we've seen it before best in Groundhog's Day, and every other time it's just, oh, this is a time loop movie, right? And
I don't know, but what's his name? The Tom Cruise one, that kind of worked.
That was very good. Yeah,
well.
That worked, and it can work. One of my favorite episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation is the one where they're stuck in a time loop and the Enterprise keeps exploding.
Or
cause and effect.
Boss Level, which would be on my top 10
that
list.
Would be a big. I completely forgot about that one. But my point is that okay, that gimmick, maybe that's not the best example because it is a gimmick that can be molded into different things. But with The Quiet Place, you saw the gimmick. It was nobody can talk. You have to be quiet. And then now they're making sequels. The Matrix, you know, was kind of like, what is the Matrix? Nobody knew what the Matrix was, you know. And by the time you got to the end, then you got to the part 2, it's like, oh, that was the Matrix. Never mind, I don't care anymore. Yeah, so I feel like it's a little like that, and I'm not sure what they're going to do in the third one. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Are they making a third one?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course they are.
I'm going to upset Eggy Wags a little bit here because Zap B said that the Suicide Squad was one of the best recent DCs, and I have to agree. I know that Eggy Wags loves Man of Steel. To me, Man of Steel there was too many plot holes for me to enjoy it, and the rest of the things like the Justice League, I'll give Zack Snyder his cut of the Justice League, but I mean DC have been all over the place, and Suicide Squad did do a good job of telling a story, I thought, and like I say, it was quite entertaining in that kind of Guardians way, but it's just not a movie I'd come back to and watch again.
Are we talking about the first Suicide Squad or the sequel?
No,
Suicide?
The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. Well, I'm assuming
which is the first one?
The first one is Suicide Squad. The second one is The Suicide Squad. But Zap B has mentioned Suicide Squad, so he might be talking about the first one, which he can't be because it was awful.
He probably is. His taste in movies terrible.
Good. We've got 5 people watching. Let's alienate.
One of them is
them.
There's 4 people watching. I'm one of them. So don't get too excited over that.
Aggie Weg says, I have no sympathy for any celebrity with a Twitter account. No, neither do I. I completely and utterly, you know, I must admit I enjoy my Twitter and it is quite nice, but it's good because you can block and mute people who are boring. Guns version, Zap said. So like I say, it was a good movie and I think it was well done, but it's just not the kind of thing I'd, you know, sit down and watch on a regular basis. Guardians of the Galaxy I have seen several times, both of them, and I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and I would quite happily put them on again. But the Suicide Squad, I wouldn't.
You know, the best movie he made was it Sliver, about the worms. Now that see that's some good cinema there. He went on to sell out and become a pedophile, apparently, allegedly.
But that was 10 years ago. Who cares?
Nah, Gunn just made a lot of pedophile jokes.
I said allegedly.
Who hasn't?
I haven't.
Lies. I think we made some on these streams.
I think I told you a great one last week, as a matter of fact.
That was after. Yeah. I'm just going to stop you there, Sean, before you do get us kicked off. He's just said, Zap Beach just said slander. That's obviously for me not thinking the Suicide Squad was the best one. I don't consider myself like a DC fan or a Marvel fan. I'm just a good movie fan. And I do understand how some people are DC fans and Marvel fans, and Marvel make the best movies and DC make crappy ones, and that kind of thing. I don't have a say in it either way. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie, you know, and maybe I need to give Suicide Squad another go. I wasn't sort of sure what to expect from it. And yeah, maybe I need to see it again.
I haven't even seen it.
Zap Beast just said, and Sean, you've already clarified your taste on
that
film.
My taste in film is superior to everybody else's. I thought that was the point I was making, but
yeah, not sure you can do that with King Kong and Godzilla though. But you know, that's.
No, I was very specific. I said I had fun watching it. I didn't say it was a masterpiece.
Oh, look at the backpedaling.
Rewind the tape, Yoda, please.
Don't drag me into this shit, man. You're on your own.
He was.
I make no apologies for my taste in film.
I mean, that is the good thing with movies. Is like say, is if everybody liked the same thing, it would be. I mean, we see how Hollywood is pandering to the crowds, and so of course, if everybody did like the same thing, they would just keep making even worse movies. It would be absolutely horrendous. And so, at least there are people.
Wait! Aren't you pretty much describing the last decade?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what I mean.
Just making
you
sure.
know that I read a meme the other day sort of saying to all the people who like crappy movies, you're the one who are still making movies crappy. And that's exactly what's happening. Is if people go and see, it's Fast and Furious 9, that broke box office records when it came out and everything else, because there are morons who go and see this.
Don't mess with my Fast and Furious movies.
Family.
I'm waiting to see who they bring back for the 10th one. This is your long lost distant arch cousins, married roommates, brothers, sister.
They're gonna actually bring back Paul Walker.
Yeah,
it's gonna be amazing. It was all bull. They've been playing the long game this whole time. He's really alive.
I actually made a meme the other day of because I've been watching Cobra Kai, and I made a meme saying, with the fact that they keep bringing people back, and I made a meme of Daniel
Miyagi.
talking to a hologram of Miyagi. I said they're bound to do it, they're bound to do it eventually.
I did. I gotta admit, I am totally all in on Cobra Kai, and I binged. My wife and I binged the whole thing yesterday. It's fantastic. It's absolute nonsense. As far as it's pure soap opera bull, and I love it. I love all of it because all this can be solved in about 5 minutes, But then you'd have no story, and it's just.
The problem I'm getting with it is I'm losing who the characters are. I can't remember whose son belongs to what kid and what not at the moment.
Oh yeah.
But also, it is
the
just,
shell game there.
He's
yours. It's no me.
You're my son. No, daughter. Sorry. It's the haircut.
Yeah. And now she's gonna be a stepdaughter. She's gonna kind of adopt this one, bring those, all this because one guy bullied another guy in 1984 in high school.
Mm-hmm. But with me, it is slowly starting to drag on a little bit now.
Yeah, same here.
Me
too. And I enjoy it, but I enjoy it too. But it's starting to wear on me a bit. I'm like.
There are times where I go, look, you've like at the end of season 3, they come together, they realize they kind of, have a better understanding of each other. And by 2 episodes into season 4, Johnny and Daniel can't work with each other anymore again. And it's like, you did all this,
It's too much like a sitcom,
Yeah. Which
I
can nitpick it here and there. There's things I wish they would do a little bit better, but overall, I'm just enjoying the crap out of it. It's just so it's schmaltz and soap opera and with karate, and I love it.
That's what the movies were too.
That's what Fast and Furious is.
It's fine.
I do love Terry Silver, man. He's embracing it. He's Michael Ian Griffith. He is put back on the. When at one point he puts back together his ponytail of evil.
Yes, because we all know men with ponytails are evil.
Yeah, he's got he's back to evil again, and he plays the long game and the whole thing, and it's that part was great. I love the thing with Kreese and him, and the back and forth and all of that was great. The stuff between Johnny and Daniel, it's like you did all this for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
move on.
Eggy Wags has just said that Paul Walker returns in an urn. I'm taking it. It's an urn that can do 0 to 60 in 10 seconds.
Yeah. the urn is actually driving. They have it sitting there in the driver's seat.
Seatbelt on.
Oh no, the lid's come off. Paul, no, not now.
Speaking of
what's he doing? He's hitting the nitro. That's what he's doing.
Speaking of TV series, Dexter had made its return late last year, and I'm enjoying the new season. I like Dexter quite a bit.
I watched up until his wife got killed by
the original series.
In the original series, yeah. So I think that was I can't remember who killed her. Was it?
It was the Trinity Killer, played by what's his name? John Lithgow.
John Lithgow.
Spoilers. I haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I saw up to. And then I never got around to seeing it after that. And then I kept reading how it's just completely crap in the bed. So
Isn't the new series, is it a reboot or is it just a sequel?
No, it picks up, 10 years after the end of the original series.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
See, I've never got into that, so
I like it.
Oh,
I like it. I was a big fan of it originally, and the last season of it, not this season, but what would have been before the last season. It was kind of, but it's about a guy that kills a serial killer that kills serial killers in Miami. How many serial killers can there be in one city? And so it's,
Miami,
quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty. I like it.
In New York, they are run for governor and mayor.
Those are serial rapists. Mass killer, serial rape.
How many old people died because of Cuomo? I'm just saying.
That's a mass killing.
A mass grave. That's on him. That's on him.
But they all died within a short period of time. That's a mass killing. So
Look,
he's
a
mass murderer.
He's an opportunistic serial killer. Let's put it that way.
If you show him a crime, he'll commit it.
He's very efficient. I can get it done in one shot. Boom.
Not to get political, but Boris over here has killed millions.
That's
apparently a joke. I don't know.
He probably has. He looks that haircut. He kills people with that haircut.
So it's also been mentioned there as well. Venom 2.
I didn't even see it.
Do you know what? The person I feel most sorry for in the entire world is Andy Serkis, because his first sort of big movie that he got to direct, it was a movie up against a Jon Favreau version of the same thing, so that was never going to work. And
what
then
was
he
it?
was given Jon Favreau did the Jungle Book, the live action version of the Jungle Book, and then Andy Serkis did, I think it was Mowgli, which was like the same movie coming out at the same time, but Jon Favreau's came out first. And Andy Serkis, I just didn't even bother with it. Just wasn't bothered. And then Venom 2, again, was a movie which it's just awful. And I think if he's given a decent bit of work to go by, he can actually make a decent movie. But just so far, it's not happened.
He's like a multi-millionaire from The Lord of the Rings, though, right?
Yeah, I know, but
don't feel too sorry for him.
Blowing his nose into dollar bills and stuff.
He's wiping his face with $100 bills. I don't understand.
I do feel sorry for them. I would like to see him direct something which is decent, and giving him a chance to do something which is decent.
Yeah, I mean, Venom. I mean that was so ridiculous how they kind of shoehorned him into the MCU for about 10 seconds. The only time he was in the MCU in any shape or in both movies was in the post-credit scene. That's the only time he's ever actually in the MCU. It's only post-credit scenes that he gets to be in the MCU. That
really took me out of Spider-Man. That really it was disappointing.
It was very disappointing. It wasn't necessary. It made no sense.
Stinger for the movie, or was there another stinger?
There was. The second one was basically the trailer for Multiverse of Madness. But the mid-credit scene was the stinger of him in the bar, and you're like, well, those of you who've been watching YouTube channel, I just put together all my questions about Spider-Man.
Great video.
Yeah, that was funny. It was funny because you haven't got that British guy on it. I think he really ruins them.
Yeah, and I said like 2 words. That's what made it great.
You didn't have that many questions. You just let me ramble on like a moron.
He's put up something on his screen and just watching a movie whilst you're running on.
Yeah.
What's he waving about now? I don't know.
Here's he going. Just let him go. He's rolling.
Was
it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
You guys talking about Andy Serkis got me thinking about the recent the Planet of the Apes remake, and nobody talks about those anymore, man. Talk about movies that had they made 3 of them. They went through the whole thing, and I don't think I've thought about those since.
I love
the fact either, and
I love the fact that you completely missed the Tim Burton version.
Everybody misses that one.
Yeah.
Those 3 movies were actually very, very good.
Yeah, they were.
I think the second one was
the best.
Fantastic.
I think the third one let it down a bit. I think the third one, I kind of lost the story a bit.
Still good. It just wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
The second one was the better one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you had apes on horseback with machine guns. I mean, what's not to like?
Tank.
Gary Oldman was in it.
That's right.
You know it's legit when Gary Oldman's in it.
Then I think the third one had Woody Harrelson, so you're taking a step down there.
Oh no, Woody always turns in a good performance. I think.
He does,
I think
but he's no Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, in my opinion, is one of the best actors working, because I don't think there's anybody that completely melts. Like, I don't even know. Like, that's the guy from Fifth Element. That's the same guy that's playing Jim Gordon. That was the same guy that was in Air Force One. That was this. He doesn't. Physically, he melts into the roles. It's amazing.
If you're ever Googling Gary Oldman, make sure you check your spelling, because I came up once with gay old man.
And it showed pictures of you in front of it.
How did I get those images? That's really clear.
That's the Google AI knowing what you want before you want it.
The algorithm knows what you like.
That's right.
Oh, that might explain it.
You figured out.
Gay old men. Time for my pleasure tonight. Google up some gay old men.
Oh, do you know what? I just suddenly thought of a meme of that, and I'm not going to say it because it probably would get us kicked off.
Nothing but Richard Simmons picks. I'm just so happy.
No, I completely agree. The Planet of the Apes.
He was looking for Ian McKellen in his defeat.
Look at this. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen kissing.
In our country. He's a pin-up in our country. Every young boy's got a poster of Ian McKellen up there. You shall not pass.
Gandalf and his staff.
Would you prefer grey or white?
We still have viewers somehow.
Yeah. Oh, so sorry, everybody. Actually, we could talk just briefly for the last 20 minutes about TV, because there has been some decent TV this year as well, haven't they? I must admit, I haven't watched much TV because I've been trying to do my 1,000 movies, which I did. So next year, I am planning on catching up on some TV. I still haven't watched The Witcher season 2 yet.
I plan to start watching Wheel of Time, and I really want to get into The Expanse. So those are going to be the two on my list, because I've heard good things. And I've heard good things about Arcane. I'm going to give that a try as well.
Okay.
When does the new The Boys come out? And then the Invincible. Are those coming out this year?
Invincible was great.
Yeah.
Right. That would make my number one on probably of top movie or TV shows of last year. If I had
I haven't got into it yet, but I'd like to say it's because I focus so much on the movies. I will put it on my watch list to try and catch up with.
It's an animated show.
I would like to ask you, George. I was curious. I watched the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
it's fine." I wish I could have done without some of the parkour, and maybe it was a little slow. And then I watched yours, where I could see the spittle and scratch marks on the page, the venom just dripping. And I'm like, what did I miss here? I don't think it was that bad.
I didn't hate it.
You could have fooled me,
sure
buddy.
About that?
No, I didn't hate it.
Of it.
No, it was just not very well done. It wasn't. Like I say, I have loved Boba Fett my whole life. I have a Mandalorian tattoo, which I had done many, many years ago, because I love Boba Fett so much.
He admitted that in public, folks.
I can't believe you just said that.
I don't care. I love Boba Fett. But then watching this series, it was just, to me, it was just a soft reboot of The Mandalorian.
Wait. I just gotta make a note of this, okay?
Yeah.
You have a tattoo of Boba Fett on your leg. You were just a half hour ago, you were making fun of guys wearing leather jacket in the wrong weather because he loved the Matrix so much.
The thing is I don't show this tattoo.
I
don't show this tattoo off to everybody every chance I get. If it's blazing hot sun outside, I won't wear a leather jacket, but I might wear shorts where somebody could see it. That's completely different. If I had Boba Fett, I love Boba Fett across here. That would be
I need the jury to weigh in on this. So I want everybody in the chat to say whether or not We feel like there's some hypocrisy going on here. And
I think we've fallen solidly into the super nerd category.
I don't dress up like a Jedi. I don't dress up as a Jedi every day.
You told me you had a Jedi robe. You told me you had a Jedi robe.
I have got it. Yeah, I've got it.
In fact, I think we have you on video getting interviewed by the news during Phantom Menace wearing that shit.
Yeah, that might be true. But that was only to get on TV.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Flash the Tat George. I can't, Eggy, because it's in quite a precarious place. Oh, he's redacted.
You'll have to go to his OnlyFans page.
It's completely different. Yes, I have a Jedi outfit, but I don't wear it all the time. I don't go shopping in it or anything else like that.
Only when him and his wife have sex does he wear it.
The funny thing is,
she's got the gold bikini. He's got the Jedi out. Hey, look. I'm not going to falter for that. I'd do that myself if I could. So I don't.
The funny thing is that when I bought this outfit, somebody had it for sale on eBay, and it was a good price. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get that, and had all the boots and everything else. And I bought it, and it was like in September time or something. And this guy, I got it through, and I said, oh, thanks very much. And he goes, yeah, have a good Halloween. Yes, Halloween. That's why I bought it. Halloween. Yes, I'm not just obviously going to dress up like any other time of year. That's mental. Obviously, yeah, it's a Halloween thing. Yes, thank you for saying that.
Okay, so get back to why you absolutely hate Boba Fett and want to kill Jon Favreau.
It was just not interesting, and I just thought they were going to, with Boba Fett, make something more of him. And I'm sure by the end of the season they will. But it was just a very dull introduction, was all it was.
Maybe this is a show that needs to be binged, because I do feel like, okay, we got a lot of flashbacks and introduction. Like, how did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? Okay. How did he lose his armor? Got it. He got mugged by Jawas. And why? I like the idea that I
shouldn't say this, but Jawas are basically gypsies. They just go around stealing everything.
They just steal everything.
Disavow.
I did
like people will like that and laugh at it.
I did like the fact that he's in a Bacta tank, and still, like, there's still stuff wrong with him. He having to deal with it, and maybe he's
got a bad back. His knees are aching. He doesn't get much sleep.
Yeah, I know. There are times like he puts on that armor, I'm thinking Boba Fett.
Yeah. So, and also in that tank, he doesn't have to go for a pee 3 times a night. He can just go.
It just goes right in the back.
It's got his insulin in it.
I think he's trying to build something with the crime stuff. He's trying to do it in a different way, just like he's trying to rebuild his body. He's trying to become a whole man again. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on there. But, I mean, then he gets attacked. I don't know why. You get flashed.
That's just what that beast just said. The fight scene in Boba Fett was bad, and it made no sense. It was really lazy.
Yeah,
it was a really lazy fight.
I agree. But the story itself wasn't like. I don't think it was awful. It's just there's more story to come. I did like seeing Flashdance in the Twi'lek, outfit. Mm-hmm. That was nice.
Indeed,
that was God dear, oily Leku.
Yes.
But overall, I mean,
hey, I'm still thinking here.
Oh, sorry. You keep thinking like that, I'm gonna have to shut off your cam.
Yeah, that was very, very good.
She still looks great, don't she?
Yeah, she does. But again, like I say, it just, to me, I didn't hate it. I just thought it was a very dull introduction, and I just hope the series gets better. That they bring in some newer characters. The whole thing escaping from the Sarlacc pit, I thought was just very lazily done.
I thought it was okay.
I think I lost your camera, Sean.
Yeah, I see there. It's sitting there saying it's trying to connect. I don't know what happened. The flood might be messing with the internet connection.
Oh, damn.
Nothing serious.
Oh, there you're back. Yeah, I'm back. I just switched just as 2cam, but why'd they use the shock pole arms if they wanted to kill him? Yeah, I mean, maybe there's more going on here, and I'm willing to give the story a chance to unfold. Flashbacks could have been used more sparingly, I suppose, but I don't know.
Would you guys have liked it better if they had just shown the flashback sequence in chronological order as the first few episodes and then picked up?
It depends how the story plays out. it will hopefully get better. I do have faith in John and Dave, as we know them, John and Dave. I do have faith that they are going to, because a lot of these series, as I said in my review, a lot of these series, they do plan out the entire series so that there is, an arc that goes through it, which comes to a good conclusion at the end. And that is what I'm hoping is going to happen. But just as an introduction, I didn't find it great. I've also just got to mention there, Eggy Weggs has said, Mrs. NGL, on a promise tonight, George, NGL in his Boba Fett get up, as you wish. My favourite joke about that, I will tell you, Eggy, is this is my favourite Star Wars joke. The wife said, I do have to be careful here because I might get in trouble, but she's got headphones on at the moment. I said to the missus...
How do you know she's not listening to you?
Well, she's not watching this, obviously. And she said, I'll tell you what, how about if I go upstairs and I put on your favourite your favourite Star Wars character outfit? So I said, yeah, all right. So I went up a few minutes later and she's still getting undressed. And I said, Jabba the Hutt's not my favourite.
It would have been really hilarious if you got up there and she's like completely dressed up as a Wookiee.
Yeah, Wookiee.
Going downstairs.
Eggy, I will post at some point in time a picture of my tattoo, but I'm not going to go into too much detail on where it is because, like I say, because it's quite discreet. There's only about 450 people that have seen it, so...
I'm happy to not be 451, to be honest with you.
The girls at the massage parlor mainly.
Yeah.
Hey, don't ever go there.
Ending.
I mean, what?
So, okay, well, I'm willing to give it more of a shot. You're not the only one though. I'm kind of shocked at how the vitriol I'm seeing about Boba Fett here. I'm like, they expect him to they're like, he's supposed to be such a badass. I'm like, he just walked out of Sarlacc. He's half digested. He's he's got the crap all over the side of his face. It's been mugged. He's just trying to survive. The fact that he is surviving is kind of pretty badass in its way.
Again, that was something that annoyed me, was the fact that him and the other Rodian prisoner were taken off by that little kid. Not being funny, just strangle the kid and escape.
What surprises me that you know what kind of alien the other alien was.
Rodian. Well, that's
just so
I
super
knew that.
nerd.
I knew that.
Yeah, it's common Star Wars knowledge.
Oh, my mistake.
Come on, man. Keep up with us here. Jesus. I love how I switch my disdain and my support for being a complete nerd. I just go back and forth whatever the moment feels like.
Oh, you stupid nerd. Yeah, me. No, I'm a great nerd. Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like the old joke, isn't it?
I don't give two shits.
No, it's the old joke of I hate having what's it called? I hate having bipolar. It's awesome.
That's the old Robin Williams. That's the old Robin Williams joke. It's like, I'd like to talk to you about schizophrenia. No, you don't. Shut up, both of you.
He's dead, and he's famously dead now.
I know, sadly dead.
Massive massage parlor. Haha. Common knowledge. No, it's not common knowledge, is it? Oh goodness.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I don't know who's going in my place, but I wish it was me.
So I have no idea what else. I have no idea what else is coming out on TV, though. Getting back to the subject.
Funny enough, I was thinking, what am I looking forward to in 2022? And at the moment, I can't really think of anything that's,
I don't even know what's coming out this year.
You should read thelastmovieoutpost.com because they give a good list of all the movies that are coming out.
Yeah, I need to read my own damn site, find out about these things. I will say that Hawkeye was the best MCU show on Disney Plus, bar none.
Again, haven't seen it yet, but I need to get through that.
I haven't checked it out. Is it finished? Did it finish its run? Okay.
It was only like 6 or 7 episodes. It was not long, so it didn't wear out its welcome, and it just worked for me. It was just a fun kind of almost a buddy cop kind of type show with some Hawkeye and some superhero bullshit in it. And
I said Rodian, didn't I, Zap?
You did.
Oh, let's get in an argument on how it's pronounced now. That's not.
That's you said Rodian.
Boba Fett with an R. Boba Fett.
I'm sticking with Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Ghostbusters Afterlife, I've not had the chance to see. Sorry, Eggy's just mentioned that. I haven't had a chance to see it because it's just not on streaming, and I've been too lazy to go to the cinema to see it. So,
that is. So I said that Spider-Man was fan service done correctly and organically within the story, and every moment is kind of earned in that one. Ghostbusters is the opposite of that. It's not a terrible story. It's not, but it is a bit boring. It goes on too long, and then when the fan service comes, it comes completely out of nowhere, just shoehorned in for no reason at all.
So you could ask the question between Ghostbusters Afterlife and Spider-Man No Way Home, how sentimental is it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, how do you want to say it? Do you want to say forced sentimentality or genuine sentimentality? I guess.
Batman is out in 22. The Batman. Again, this is one of those things that I can't get massively excited for, because this is what the sort of the fifth or sixth incarnation of Batman now, if you don't count the TV series as well, and stuff. Even the movie things, and it looks quite good, and I like Matt Reeves as a director. I think he's great, but I'm just not massively excited for it at the moment.
Was Reeves the one that did Wolverine?
No, that was the guy who's doing Indiana Jones 5.
Now that's something to look forward to.
It's god, yeah.
I've almost forgotten that. Thanks.
Yeah.
What has Matt Reeves done? I mean, what is his?
I'm sure he did. I will look him up, but I'm sure he did the second of the Planet of the Apes movies. In fact, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of like another Batman, but you get a talented director. Somebody like if they said Denis Villeneuve was going to do Batman or any of these MCU movies, I'd be so on board, because you get something that would probably be better, assuming that he has the opportunity to do it the way he wants it. But
I didn't realize. Sorry, just looking up Matt Reeves, he did The Pallbearer in 1996, and then he did some TV shows and stuff. But then he did Cloverfield.
Is that the one with David Schwimmer?
David Schwimmer and
what's
her name?
Yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow, yeah.
But then as a director, but then he did Cloverfield, which I thought was very good. He did Let Me In, which I thought was quite a good remake.
The original was superior.
The original was better. But then he did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of Planet of the Apes. So he did the second and third one.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. He's pretty solid.
And like I say, I'm sure that Batman will be quite good, but I'm just one of those people that's just not getting massively excited for it.
I just don't. I'm not a fan of Batman, so I don't care.
It's wonderful, George. Don't listen to Yoda. About what? I never listen to Yoda anyway.
I think he's talking about Ghostbusters.
Oh, I see.
Remember, guys, we're on a delay.
I will watch it. I will watch it, but it just, like I say, it's not something that I was massively, into seeing. It was just because it was a sequel, which has been done 30 years after the last one. And like I say, I might be massively surprised and think it's absolutely wonderful, but I just don't see it.
Have either of you got to see Licorice Pizza yet? I still have not, and it's my most anticipated movie of last year.
I'm not interested in that in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay. I am, but I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I will watch it. I like PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson. I think he's great, but I'm just not excited about it.
I like licorice. I like pizza. What's not to like?
Yeah, man. Jesus, why do you have to overthink things for, George?
The new Batman animated series, J.J. Abrams is involved. Evolution was the best Ghostbusters sequel. Evolution? Spiritual sequel. Evolution was the best Ghostbusters sequel.
Yeah.
Evolution was the one with the guy from X-Files.
David Duchovny
and Orlando Jones, I think.
Yeah, it was a real masterpiece.
Yeah. It was.
What's that got to do with Ghostbusters?
Nothing.
It was directed by Paul Reitman.
Dude is on acid or something. I don't know.
No, it was directed by Ivan Reitman. Excuse me.
Oh, I see. No, Evolution was very good. I did find that very amusing.
I honestly didn't like it. But,
I
like silly humor. That's why I like
it. Obviously.
Stupid jokes and stupid. I did watch recently again Kung Pao by Steve Odekirk, and that's so stupid, but it's just funny. It is funny. It is funny, but it's like I say.
Is that the one where they took an actual movie and they kind of stuck him in there?
Two movies, yeah, and put his head in and stuff, and it's so stupid, low, and some of the dialogue that he puts over the top of it is just hilarious. I find it really, really funny.
It is. It really is funny. Yeah.
I think I watched it once, and I honestly don't remember it. Like when it came out, which would have been
it's like 20 years ago. So
yeah,
he's got the little
late
face on
90s.
the tongue. He goes.
Yeah.
I
remember him taking the gopher nunchucks. That was the thing
yeah.
I like.
The girl was my favorite part. I don't know why, but that cracked me up every time.
I know, it's so stupid. Anyway, right. So are we wrapping up because it's a couple of hours now? So we've put an end to 2021. 2022, we've got stuff to look forward to. The end. Thanks for everybody.
And endless trash is coming.
Yeah. And didn't you do a video last year around this time where you were like, "Oh, don't worry, next year things are going to get better," and
I didn't.
Movies are going to be.
I did. And thank you for actually watching that piece of shit.
I did watch that.
I did a Christmas by the Fire.
You were my viewer.
That was me.
I was like, who was that? This is getting awkward now.
His prediction maybe was a little off, but the video was okay.
Hey, Ed, try to give everybody a little bit of hope.
It was a good effort.
It was an effort.
It was.
Right, so
we put 21 to bed.
Yeah, we do. Let's put 21 to bed and let's start steeling ourselves for the hell that will be 2022. Because
things are only going to get weirder.
Yeah, I'm pretty much to the point that I think that the decade of the 20s is now a lost cause.
Yeah, I agree.
We had the Roaring 20s in the 20th century. For the 21st century, we're going to pay for that with the absolute terrible 20s. So thank you all for watching. This has been a presentation from lastmovieoutpost.com, where you will find all the latest and greatest in movie news, streaming news, reviews, and all kinds of different columns that we have a lot of people working hard on. And so you should get there and give us a watch and give us a read, because at this point we are the cool news. Want to thank George and Sean for showing up again. I don't know why you do this to yourselves every Sunday, but I do appreciate it.
This is my community service.
This is my version of church.
It works for me. This is like back in the old days. You go to the bar and hang out with the guys. This is it. This is it for me. Yep. We are also on Facebook /Last Movie Outpost. We are, of course, on YouTube /Last Movie Outpost. We want you to give us a like. Get down there, give us a like on this video. Share this video. We are on Twitter @Movie Outpost. I am @Drunken Yoda 1, and that is @Not George Lucas 1. You can find us on Twitter, DM us, and if you want to stick with good old-fashioned email, you can reach us at contactus@lastmovieoutpost.com. Let me inhale for a second, and now we can go on. Thank you very much, guys. You have anything else to share with the wonderful chatty audience we had here today? I appreciate it.
No, apart from the only thing news-wise is I start a new job tomorrow for the new year, and a brand new job, and so
chimney sweep.
Yep, you can get me up there with a really dodgy London accent, and I've got to learn tap and dance and ballet tomorrow. So I
tell you, the skill set for that job was very surprising to me. I don't think you're Cockney enough, though.
Yeah.
All right there, Governor.
They get there. You can pull it off better than I can, that's for sure.
If I was to do an old London accent, though, you guys wouldn't understand a blinking word I was saying, would you?
Probably not.
Nope.
Anyway, but that's all my news. And I don't know what we're talking about next week, but we'll come up with a fun subject.
Well, hopefully we'll figure out something. All right. Well, thank you, thank you very much, guys, for showing up, and we will see you on the next stream.